It's hard to imagine cinema without the moments that burn themselves into our collective consciousness, like a cattle brand to the brain. Side note, it is not advisable to cattle brand your brain. Some scenes are so iconic that even people who have never seen the movie can recognize them. Think about the first time you saw Jack Torrance smash down a door, or Doc Brown hang from a clock tower. These scenes are important and unique parts of film history. Wait, did I say unique? I meant blatantly stolen. You can get away with a lot by saying that one scene is inspired by another, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Yes, like a student copying homework from a classmate and passing it off as their own, some directors may need to see the teacher after class. I'm Chris Goodmakers with ScreenRant, and here are 7 iconic scenes stolen from other movies. Ah, the 80s. Has there ever been a better time for insane action movies that barely make sense? This period was highlighted by big guns, big explosions, and big muscles. One of the biggest beefcakes of the 80s was Sylvester Stallone. Stallone's action insanity escalated steadily through the 80s and culminated in the truly inexplicable Tango and Cash. The buddy cop film starring Stallone and the ever-amazing Kurt Russell was an exercise in machismo and excess. Tango, played by Stallone, is introduced in the film after tasking himself with stopping a runaway truck driven by the star of Samurai Cop, Robert Z'Dar. Rest in peace, you big-chinned legend.
Glad you could drop in.
Pretty cool, right? Well, it was even cooler when it was done by Hong Kong action god Jackie Chan. The 1985 classic Police Story features Chan stopping a hijacked bus in a very similar fashion, right down to the shots of the revolver being loaded and the bad guys crashing through the windshield. It's fine to want to emulate Jackie Chan, as long as you're prepared to have the same knee problems as Jackie Chan. Chan thinks so too. That's why he makes sure you see the bloopers. Only my second video on the channel and I'm talking about Back to the Future again. Thank you for your indulgence, viewers. Even if you haven't seen the film, you know a clock tower plays a key role when manic inventor Doc Brown finds himself hanging from one of its giant hands. It's a visual metaphor for the dangers of time travel. Did you get it? The iconic scene is even foreshadowed earlier in the film with the inclusion of a very specific clock. What's the clock a reference to? Another famous actor with the surname Lloyd. Harold Lloyd, who is unrelated to Christopher Lloyd, was a titan of the silent film era. Sharing more in common with Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise than Doc Brown, Harold Lloyd was known for slapstick comedy featuring terrifying stunts he performed himself. One of his more notable films, Safety Last, features a familiar sequence. In the movie, Lloyd is trying to escape the police by Spider-Manning up a 40-story building for reasons? Unable to enter window after window, he finds himself dangling from a very similar clock. While Back to the Future may be highlighting the homage, its connection to the time another man named Lloyd dangled from a clock is often lost on modern viewers. It's not their fault. Movies did get much better when we could hear what the actors were saying.
How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Some movies got better when we could hear what the actors were saying. Requiem for a Dream makes drugs look about as appealing as watching Requiem for a Dream with your mom. Graphic details aside, Requiem tells the interconnecting story of people caught in the pain of addiction. One of them is Jennifer Connelly's character, Marion Silver. After her spiral into drugs forced her into an unpleasant career choice, Marion spends a short scene venting her pain into a full bathtub. It's 2 quick shots that tell a whole story, brilliant in both its simplicity and complexity. It's even better animated. Like so many things in life, it all comes back to anime. Perfect Blue is the mind-bending story of a singer-turned-actress who finds herself being stalked by a violent and obsessive fan. Finding herself exploited and victimized by the industry, protagonist Mima submerges herself in a nice bath and vents her frustration. Requiem's director Darren Aronofsky didn't technically steal this scene. He paid for it. He bought the American rights to Perfect Blue just to replicate this moment. He ended up replicating more of the classic anime when he practically remade it into the Oscar-winning Black Swan, though strangely, he denies any connection between the two. Come on, man. You used your own money to buy the rights. We all saw you. Who buys something and then never uses it? Ignore my ice cream maker. Honestly, this whole video could just be 7 iconic moments Tarantino stole from other movies. The undisputed king of the homage, Quentin Tarantino has been remixing his favorite films into modern classics for his whole career. Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Kill Bill all contain at least 5 scenes that are directly lifted from something Tarantino undoubtedly loved as a teenage video store clerk. There are so many notable ones from which to choose, but in the interest of not making a 2-hour video, I'll focus on one film. Inglourious Bastards is Tarantino's take on the World War II films your dad loved. Or, because I'm getting old, the ones your grandpa loved. The Dirty Dozen, Where Eagles Dare, and The Great Escape are all referenced throughout, but one of the movie's best shots comes not from a classic World War II movie, but a classic Western. When the film's opening sees main character Shoshana running from the clutches of vile villain Hans Landa, her escape is framed in the doorway of the house her family was hiding under. This single shot is identical in framing to the John Wayne cowboy picture, The Searchers. The pace of the exit is a little different as Wayne gets to saunter off rather than run, but both moments are equally impactful and important to the story. Almost as important as a good strudel. The timeless tale of a group of friends on an epic quest to bring a coveted artifact to a powerful wizard, the Wizard of Oz, will live forever in cinematic history. The Lord of the Rings is also the timeless tale of a group of friends who are on an epic quest to bring a coveted artifact somewhere. Only this time it's to a big old volcano and they're trying to avoid the evil sorcerer. They both even end with the bad guy melting! The similarities continue when, in The Two Towers, brave hobbit Frodo and his BFF Samwise find themselves looking over the terrifying entrance to Mordor. Peering over a large rock, they gaze upon the fearsome architecture before them. They share this moment with another iconic fellowship when Scarecrow, Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion attempt to rescue Dorothy. Taken by the Wicked Witch to her castle, the Kansas native is in need of help. Mustering their courage, they climb up over a hill and make a plan to infiltrate the dark fortress. It goes about as well as in Lord of the Rings, melting bad guy and all. The Shining is a masterclass in terror and tension. It's a film loaded with iconic scenes like Danny's big wheel ride through the haunted hotel's endless corridors, or when Jack's long-tormented wife learns his next novel may not be the great work of literature she thought it would be. Still better than Twilight. Out of all these scenes, arguably, the most iconic is when a crazed and possessed Jack uses an axe to break through the bathroom door standing between him and his terrified family. Wife and son cower and scramble for escape as the door splinters under the weight of a hard-swung axe. Kubrick was known as a pioneer of originality and shot composition, but this one he just stole. Back to the era of silent film, this time to look at the now 100-year-old film, The Phantom Carriage. The story of violent alcoholic David, whose ghost is ushered through the worst moments of his life. One such moment is when his wife and child barricade themselves in the bedroom, and a drunken and TB-infected David decides to remedy this situation with an axe and some elbow grease. The Shining and The Phantom Carriage share similar themes, so it's only fair Kubrick would choose to emulate the silent film. If only he spent more time watching old movies and less time torturing poor Shelley Duvall. There are some pretty iconic sets of stairs in cinema, from classics like The Exorcist's head-turning walkway to the modern dance of the Joker. There's something so compelling about a good set of stairs. Just ask DiCaprio. Brian De Palma's The Untouchables contains one of the more memorable ones, when G-Man Elliot Ness attempts to intercept Capone's bookkeeper. The bookkeeper holds the key to convicting the baseball-loving mobster. Foul on the court! Or the play. Listen, I have all these books about Star Trek. You think I spend my spare time watching sports? While waiting on the heavily guarded bookkeeper, the tension ratchets up as Ness helps a mother carry her child and stroller up an endless flight of stairs. A gunfight ensues at just the wrong moment, and the carriage and baby go tumbling down the steps as Ness and his men shoot it out with Capone's thugs. This element adds both suspense and a potential tragedy to the stakes. And it was brought to you by communism. Made in 1925, Battleship Potemkin is possibly one of the most punk rock films ever made. Formerly banned in France, the UK, and at times its native Soviet Union, It tells the story of the titular battleship as its sailors mutiny and revolt against their cruel superiors and Tsarist Russia. Their actions spark tragedy when Potemkin's supporters gather at the Odessa steps and are violently gunned down by Cossacks. A familiar baby carriage even goes tumbling down the steps. The Untouchables isn't the only movie to borrow from the revolutionary silent film. It's been homaged dozens of times in the almost 100 years since its release. Star Wars fans may even recognize it from Revenge of the Sith. This time, the stormtroopers are walking up the stairs as opposed to down them. George Lucas reinvents cinema yet again. That's 7 iconic scenes stolen from other films. So many filmmakers owe their success to the films that came before, even if some are a little more shameless than others. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna end this video by stealing a scene myself.
Well, I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in!
Actually, you know what, I rent, and, like, security deposits are insane, and this is even my roommate's door, and
What are you doing?
Nothing!